As the sun rose over Salem on Thursday, May 8, no one could have predicted how much heartbreak, suspicion, and personal reckoning would unfold before nightfall. Let's begin with the crisis that has everyone talking, a joyful moment turned nearly tragic. Sarah, who had been bubbling with excitement over a short honeymoon getaway with Xander, found herself instead gasping for air and crumpling to the pavement of the town square. What started as a light-hearted detour for a sweet treat became a terrifying ordeal when she sampled a baked good from Sweet Bits. Something about the flavor struck her as odd, and moments later, her body reacted violently. As Xander rushed to her side, helpless and horrified, Sarah began coughing uncontrollably, her breath shortening, her face turning pale. With townspeople gathering in panic, Xander carried her, trembling in his arms, to the emergency department at University Hospital, his heart pounding with fear. This was not the honeymoon either of them had imagined, but instead a brush with what could have been a tragedy. The culprit? An experimental recipe being tested by Felicity, one of Sweet Bit's newest contributors, may have contained an ingredient Sarah was severely allergic to. While doctors raced to stabilize her, questions swirled: was this a simple accident? Or something more? Elsewhere, another type of tension brewed, one born not from ingredients, but from ego, ambition, and the delicate web of power within the walls of Salem's most important medical institution. The battle for control over University Hospital is reaching a boiling point. It had put forward an aggressive plan to purchase the struggling hospital, promising innovation and a revitalized future. But Kayla, with her unwavering loyalty to the hospital's integrity, refused his money. She believes deeply in the work of Dr. Russell, whose research may one day revolutionize medicine. But Kayla is no fool. She knows that a promising drug trial doesn't pay salaries or keep lights on. Without immediate funding, the hospital may collapse long before a miracle cure can save it. Itch, frustrated but undeterred, turned his attention to Marlena, the one woman whose opinion could sway the board and perhaps even Kayla. He appealed to her empathy, telling her how close he had come to death, and how it had changed him. He painted a picture of a reformed man, desperate to make something meaningful from his second chance. But Marlena, ever perceptive, wasn't convinced. Could this really be about redemption? Or was there a more self-serving agenda behind EJ's proposal? At the same time, another twist emerged. Xander, perhaps sensing an opportunity or perhaps simply unwilling to let it gain more influence, confided in Alex that they too should consider acquiring the hospital. With Versovix conducting valuable research within its walls, there was a business case to be made, and in Salem, when there's a business case, there's usually a family feud close behind. Meanwhile, Johnny, still haunted by the deep rift with his father, seemed ready to forge a path of his own. After speaking with Marlena and enduring another tense run-in with Edge at the local pub, he made a surprising move, accepting a job at Titan. Some speculate this was simply a career move, a chance for a fresh start. But others wonder, was it a calculated strike against Edge, a son's subtle rebellion against the father who always expected obedience but never offered understanding? In the midst of all this, Sarah, in a rare moment of levity before her allergic episode, had tried to pull Xander away from business matters, encouraging him to focus instead on their weekend together. They had plans for something small and sweet, a symbolic mini-moon to celebrate their bond. But Salem, as ever, had other ideas. As if all of this weren't enough to keep the town spinning, an unusual proposition was brewing in a different corner of town. Chad found himself at the center of an unexpected love triangle, or perhaps it would be better called a triangle of opportunity. It began when his brother, always the strategist, gifted Chad a ticket to a bachelor auction event, one that Chad had no interest in. Or at least, he claimed not to. But then came Kat, the woman in question, with a flirtatious smile and a mysterious glint in her eye. Chad tried to play it cool, even going so far as to attempt buying Edge out of his date with her. Edge refused, of course, but in a move that surprised even Chad, Edge then offered the date to him freely, as if to say, if you want her, make your move. At first, Chad declined. He insisted they were just friends. He didn't want to step into the messy world of dating games. But something in the air changed. Maybe it was the way Kat looked at him. Maybe it was the way Edge smirked, as if daring Chad to act. Either way, by the end of the week, Salem might witness one of the DiMera brothers sitting down to a candlelit dinner with Kat. Whether it will be the brooding manipulator or the reluctant romantic remains to be seen. The town buzzes with anticipation. And through it all, a quieter story unfolded in the heart of one deeply grieving woman. Chanel, still processing the pain of a failed adoption and a fractured marriage, found herself on the receiving end of Abe's quiet compassion. While others around her moved on with their ambitions, their betrayals, and their grand gestures, Chanel simply hurt. She wasn't ready to forgive Johnny. She wasn't ready to try again. All she had was the ache of a dream that didn't come true, and Abe, a steady presence, offering no solutions, just support. He held space for her grief in a way that no one else could. And in a town where people often hide behind masks or run headlong into their next crisis, that kind of quiet companionship may be the most healing thing of all. And still, the week wasn't over. Marlena would go on to have another critical conversation, this time with Edge, again in the sterile halls of the hospital. It's rumored the discussion would shift from business to something more personal. Perhaps even Belle. What role Belle will play in EJ's tangled plans remains unclear, but one thing is certain, EJ's ambitions, and his feelings, are far more complex than even those closest to him may realize. Meanwhile, Kayla must make a decision, hold firm and risk financial ruin, or compromise her ideals to keep the hospital's doors open. The clock is ticking, and no one knows if salvation will come from inside the hospital's walls, or from one of Salem's most unlikely heroes. Final thoughts. Thursday's episode left viewers reeling with unanswered questions, but one thing is certain, beneath every decision, every stare, and every embrace, the heart of Salem beats on, full of love, rivalry, hope, and heartbreak. With a town this unpredictable, tomorrow could bring healing. Or an entirely new disaster. Will Sarah recover completely? Will Marlena trust Edge? Will Kat fall for Chad, or does Edge still hold her interest? And will Chanel find a new path forward for her broken heart? One thing is for sure, in Salem, nothing ever stays the same for long.